Welcome to the California Maverick, a channel fighting for a free and sane California. Okay, so I'm constantly seeing and hearing that California is a donor state. California is a maker state. It funds all the red states. And Gavin Newsom himself wears it like a badge of honor, toting it around. Fourth largest economy. We're a donor state. I even had people in my comments, in my videos, tell me I don't know what I'm talking about and they don't have time to teach me what a donor or maker state is. So we're going to debunk this myth right now. We got a lot to go over, so let's get into it.
More Fortune 500 companies in my state than any other state. Look that up, because I know people are rolling their eyes and saying, no, it's Texas. You're wrong.
It's true. I looked it up.
And we're, by the way, a donor state. We provided $83.1 billion more than we received from the federal government. Texas took $71.1 billion. I'm not saying that to bash Texas. 9 out of the 10 dependent states, welfare states, are Trump states. The donor states disproportionately the blue states. 71% of the country's GDP comes from blue counties. Mm-hmm. These same crack-up counties with all these crazy liberals. It's 71% of the economy.
Right. So this is essentially the argument I hear all the time. And like I said, Gavin Newsom brags about it and totes it around like it's some kind of accomplishment. Number one, there's no such thing as a donor state. California and the California government don't sit there and say, well, how much can we donate to the federal government? Well, let's allocate 10% or 14% of our tax revenue and give it to the federal government. It's not how that works. What makes it a quote unquote maker state or donor state is merely the fact that there's a lot of people and the federal government collects taxes from them. That's it. The more people you have, the more taxes get paid to the federal government. You also have a lot of very wealthy people in California. Obviously, Hollywood, professional athletes, tech giants. You have a lot of people also making high six-figure salaries. So higher salaries put you in a higher tax bracket, which means you're paying more in taxes. So basically, Gavin Newsom and all the politicians in California literally don't have to do anything. Gavin Newsom can just sit in his house in his $9 million mansion in Marin, do his little podcast, travel around, drink wine at the French Laundry, make tweets to bash Trump, literally do nothing. And California will still be a maker state and still be the top contributor in federal taxes. It's not a flex. It's nothing to brag about because it requires zero effort. He then goes further and mentions blue counties. I don't want to go too far into the weeds with this because I want to focus on California. However, if you look at the map, you'll see that a lot of these blue counties have what? Major metropolitan cities. Los Angeles, San Francisco, Houston, Seattle, New York, Nashville, New Orleans. So the more people you have, the more tax revenue you're going to contribute just by having a ton of people. It's not rocket science. So just by existing, literally the politicians have to do nothing and they will be quote unquote donor states or donor cities. It has nothing to do with policies. It has nothing to do with being red or blue. It's just volume of people and how much each individual person pays in taxes to the federal government. It's automatically taken out. That's it. What you really should gauge a state's success on is how many people are below the poverty line, how many people are receiving welfare and government entitlements, how many homeless do you have, how much crime do you have in your streets, how many businesses are leaving or closing or failing, what is your unemployment rate? And that brings me to my next point, which is the amount of taxes collected by the federal government from California literally gets put back into California for welfare cases and government assistance. So approximately 14% of all American welfare dollars are spent in California. The US spends approximately $1 trillion in welfare. California spends $151 billion annually per capita, which makes it the highest per capita spending, 81% more than any other state in the United States. It has the highest proportion of residents living below the poverty line than any other state, which guess what? In turn, increases the demand for welfare and government assistance.
Well, if you're having trouble finding a job, you are not alone. The latest job numbers show California is now tied with Nevada for the highest unemployment rate in the country. The state's unemployment rate went up slightly over the past month to 5.4%, but that is still above the national average. You're seeing it right here at 4.1%.
And I'll go a little bit further. Nearly 60% of all welfare cases are found in large urban counties, in large cities. 89 large urban counties or cities, which is about 1/3 of the US population, account for almost 60% of the nation's welfare caseload. caseload. Governor Newsom also talks about having more Fortune 500 companies in his state than any other state. That is true. He also talks about having the most business growth in the nation, which is also true. However, both of these are misleading and omitting huge factors. Let's take the small businesses or the business growth. Yes, California was number one in business growth. However, they were also number one in businesses closing or leaving. California lost just as much as it gained. So they didn't grow any businesses because just as many closed as opened. Between 2018 and 2021, California lost over 200 businesses to other states, which equates to nearly $391 billion going to either Texas or Florida. Now let's talk about these Fortune 500 companies. I got two in mind specifically. NVIDIA. NVIDIA is valued at $4 trillion. Their headquarters is based in California, yes. But other than research and development, chip design, software development, and operations, what other jobs does NVIDIA provide California? The answer is zero. Absolutely no other jobs other than tech jobs. NVIDIA's manufacturing is outsourced to places like Taiwan. Now, that's changed. This current administration made a deal with NVIDIA to invest over $500 billion back into the United States, building artificial intelligence infrastructure and manufacturing chips and AI supercomputers for the first time ever. And where do you think they're going to put these manufacturing plants? Not California, Texas, and Arizona. That is also not just manufacturing jobs, but construction jobs to build these massive buildings in the next 4 years. Those are thousands of jobs, billions of dollars, possibly trillions of dollars lost to other states. So yes, while California has NVIDIA and you can flex and brag about innovation and how great you are, Gavin Newsom, and how great the Democrats are in California, they're not investing into California. They're going to Texas and Arizona. I'm honestly surprised that they haven't moved their headquarters to those states. Let's talk about Apple, who's in Cupertino, California. Yes, they have headquarters here in California, which is the same thing. Research and development, operations, design. How many manufacturing jobs do they have here in the United States? The answer is zero. Apple outsources its manufacturing to places like China and Taiwan. So it's all a facade. It's smoke and mirrors. And you want to brag about how many Fortune 500 companies are in California? Well, let's talk about how many left for places like Texas and Florida. Chevron, that's been in California for over 100 years, moved their corporate headquarters to Houston, Texas. Hewlett-Packard, Charles Schwab, Oracle, and most recently, In-N-Out, moving to Tennessee because California is rated dead last in places to do business, worst place to retire, worst ranked in cost of living. So what does all this mean? It means this is just a disingenuous argument. It's an argument to cover up the failures of the California leadership. It's a distraction to hide the abysmal performance of the state. And just because California has a large economy doesn't mean it has a healthy or good economy. And I know I'm not going to change a bunch of minds because the people who believe this rhetoric are either A, stuck in their ways with their tribal mentality, B, completely, totally out of touch and living in a bubble, or C, genuinely just don't know and don't understand why things are the way they are. And those are the people that I'm trying to reach. Maybe I can help convince one or two people, and that's the goal. And I'm hoping I can also arm some of you with information to debunk this argument anytime you see it. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you like this video, leave a like and possibly subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.